I guess you already know the story of Romeo and Juliet, a story of love, conflict, and folly. But this one is quite different, because in this version, one of the lovebirds has an offensive mouth odor. In the vast realm of online dating, where hearts and profiles collide, a modern-day Romeo and Juliet found themselves navigating the digital landscape in search of true love. Meet Romeo, a charismatic painter with a fondness for romantic poetry, and Juliet, an intelligent and independent marketing executive with a passion for adventure. Though fully occupied by the nature of their jobs, both sought true love and deep connection, but made minimal efforts towards it, and an online dating app came handy, as Juliet took the luxury step to create a profile, hoping to stumble upon her knight someday. Fate intervened when Romeo's unsuspecting finger brushed past Juliet's profile on a random dating app. Their eyes met in the virtual realm, and a spark ignited. Intrigued by Romeo's poetic charm and captivated by Juliet's adventurous spirit, their shared interests and profound talks ventured beyond the realm of profiles and emojis, delving into heartfelt conversations under the digital moonlight. But their love story was not destined to be an easy one. As their online connection deepened, Romeo and Juliet yearned for a chance to meet in person, to experience the tangible presence of their love. However, they faced an obstacle that loomed over their relationship: distance. Romeo lived in a small town, while Juliet resided in a city miles away. Undiscouraged by the geographical challenge, Romeo and Juliet embraced modern technology to bridge the gap between them. They relied on video calls, virtual dates, and countless text messages to nurture their connection. They shared their dreams, fears, and intimate thoughts, gradually unveiling the depths of their hearts to each other. But as their love grew stronger, doubts began to surface. They questioned whether a relationship built on digital interactions could withstand the tests of time and distance. Their families, too, cast doubts, skeptical of the authenticity and depth of their connection. Romeo and Juliet faced moments of frustration and longing, yearning to hold each other's hands, to feel the warmth of an embrace. The virtual world that brought them together now felt like a barrier, taunting them with its limitations. Determined to overcome the hurdle, they made plans to meet in person. Carefully coordinating their schedules, saved up for travel expenses, and eagerly counted down the days until their long-awaited physical date. When the day finally arrived, Romeo and Juliet's hearts raced with nervous anticipation. They met at a charming cafe, their eyes locking for the first time, exchanging joy and excitement. But the crucial moment of their first kiss unveiled an unforeseen revelation. An unsettling odor enveloped Juliet as she locked lips with Romeo, and it was in that moment she realized that Romeo had bad breath. A very unpleasant odor emanated from his nose and his mouth. The shocking discovery sent shivers down Juliet's spine, her sensitive nostrils recoiling from the unexpected assault on her senses. Romeo never mentioned this to her, and because they had been dating online, she never knew, because there's no way to perceive smell over the internet. She didn't speak about it, but the issue loomed large in her mind as she struggled with the dilemma of addressing this olfactory obstacle without ruining the budding connection. Juliet chose to hide her discomfort, preserving the illusion of a blissful encounter to salvage their eagerly awaited first physical date. They had agreed to spend a few days together, but this was now a challenge for Juliet, who, unable to endure Romeo's bad breath, crafted an excuse to cut their time short. After that day, Juliet began to grow distant. She was slow in replying Romeo's texts, and she was no longer taking his calls frequently. Romeo sensed the subtle shifts in their connection and confronted Juliet about the growing rift, but she attributed it to the relentless pressures of her job. Romeo, refusing to be deceived, confessed to his awareness of the bad breath issue. He told her that he had seen a dentist and was referred to a gastroenterologist who he would go and see the following day. He begged her not to throw away their love over this temporary setback. Juliet felt so confused. She needed time to think and put things into perspective, so she started ignoring Romeo's calls completely, but he didn't stop calling. Romeo's appointment with the gastroenterologist provided a glimmer of hope to him. He was told that the underlying cause of his mouth smell issue could be treated, and immediately he was placed on medication. Days went by. Romeo continued his medication, while Juliet continued to ignore him. Then, one faithful day, Romeo sent Juliet a text message saying he was going to kill himself if she didn't take or return his calls. Juliet knew he wasn't bluffing, so she reached out to her bestie for advice. She confessed that Romeo embodied all she desired in a man, but the bad breath threatened to sever their connection. Juliet wanted to be sure she wasn't making a mistake by giving up on Romeo. Also, what if the treatment doesn't eradicate the mouth odor completely? Juliet's bestie realized that it was a tricky situation. In her opinion, there were no wrong or right ways to handle the situation, so she advised Juliet to follow her heart. A few hours after her conversation with her bestie, Juliet mustered the courage to call Romeo. She apologized for her recent attitude and reassured him of her unwavering love for him. She also stated her determination to confront the challenge of his mouth odor together. Expecting relief and enthusiasm from Romeo, she was met with an unexpected silence. Sensing something amiss, she asked him what else was bordering him. With a voice heavy with grief, Romeo revealed a devastating loss. He had just lost his grandmother, the one who had raised him since the tender age of 5. With both parents gone early in his life, she had been his sole anchor. Romeo explained that the weight of losing her and losing his grandma within a short space of time was too much for him to bear. That's why he wanted to end his own life. Juliet broke into tears, expressing profound remorse for misjudging his struggles. She apologized repeatedly, promising to stand by him during this dark period. Romeo's family made arrangements to lay their dead to rest within a few weeks. Juliet made preparations to attend the burial. She couldn't believe that she was going to see him again, but the circumstances that necessitated this meeting was an unpleasant one. On the day of the funeral, as Juliet journeyed to Romeo's grandmother's village, where she was being laid to rest, a shocking revelation awaited her. It was a very small event with few family members in attendance. Amidst the sober gathering, Juliet encountered an elderly relative of hers, Auntie Beatrice, whose presence heightened her astonishment. Auntie Beatrice, taken aback, inquired about Juliet's connection to the deceased, prompting Juliet to explain that the departed woman was her boyfriend's grandmother. Auntie Beatrice quietly revealed a twist in Juliet's family tree that left her speechless. Juliet and Romeo were cousins, even though they were not aware of it. Auntie Beatrice unraveled the intricate web of familial ties, disclosing that both families shared blood relations. The gravity of this revelation hung heavy in the air, casting an unexpected shadow over the already emotionally charged occasion. With plans to spend the night with Romeo disrupted by the unexpected revelation from Auntie Beatrice, Juliet grappled with newfound discomfort. Despite her reservations, she chose to stay the night, seizing the opportunity to disclose the startling truth to Romeo. That evening, Romeo, unaware of the impending bombshell, made extra efforts to combat any potential source of discomfort. He brushed his mouth twice and took the best breath mints money could buy, hoping to alleviate what he believed was the lingering issue of his mouth odor. However, Juliet remained distant and visibly unresponsive. Concerned, Romeo assumed his bad breath was still the culprit. In a heartfelt conversation, Juliet took the plunge, revealing the true obstacle standing between them. They were cousins. She recounted Auntie Beatrice's revelation, and Romeo, devastated, sought confirmation from his family members, who reluctantly confirmed the unexpected blood connection. The weight of this revelation was too heavy for Romeo, and he spent the night in tears. The love he had shared with Juliet was now marred by an insurmountable obstacle. By morning, Juliet left, but she assured him that she will always be there for him and promised to be in touch with him regularly. She encouraged him to be strong and to move on with life. Bereft and uncertain of how to navigate life without her, Romeo faced the harsh reality of moving forward in the aftermath of the shattered relationship. Romeo went back to the town where he lived and continued the treatment he had started. But to his surprise, the stench that oozed from his mouth and nose kept getting worse. It became obvious that the treatment was not going to work. The only thing that made sense to him was to end his life. He had nothing to live for. The bad breath had refused to give way. He had lost his grandma, and he had lost Juliet, so he took a drastic decision to end his life, leaving a heartfelt apology letter to everyone who his death might affect. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories like this, please subscribe.